that don't have kids than be a man to use a prophylactic or think maybe I'm not in the best position right now to have a baby. Hey, Jillian, can I talk to you for a second?
Sorry.
What did you want to do with Mr. Waters? What do you want to do with Mr. Waters?
He's gonna plea today. We're trying to do a time served on the evading dismissal. Hi, Judge. He's got so much going on. And his curfews.
Mischief, trespass, that, gun case, that,
When he was arraigned, we established that so many of these cases are just the result of him hanging out at this little drugstore. The cops know who he is. They know who everyone there is. So really, he just needs to stop hanging out at that drugstore. He's not. And well, I'm sorry.
For both of these cases, he picks up another theft.
And that's upstairs a felony. And right now, the offer is 18 months state jail. So he's dealing with that right now. The evading is at that same little drugstore. And I'm sorry, my memory is actually coming back to me. A lot of those thefts were necessary items from Target or Walmart. Because we went over that for arraignment. They were literally, when it was winter, it was literally hoodies, sweatshirts, and socks. And then when it was summer, it was like underwear. Most of those thefts are necessary items. When I was appointed, we got him a social worker through the MAC and housing through Search. And his girlfriend was pregnant at the time. She was only like 2 months pregnant. Now she's pretty much due. They have housing that they got through the services we were able to provide. He hasn't picked up any new cases because right now they're barely making ends meet, but they are making ends meet. They're still together. She relies on him to go to their appointments. He gets the things that she needs because her mobility has decreased now. She came up here and spoke for him in front of you. She'd been to like college and everything, and you gave her a big speech. You gave him a speech about supporting her through her hormonal shifts. He was just telling me about that. He was like, I keep thinking about what Judge Fleischer said. She woke me up crying this morning because she said she's fat and ugly, and I just held her, and I made her feel better, and I'm trying to do that every day because I remember what the judge told me. That's where he is right now, Judge. So he understands like he broke that curfew a couple times. He says the late ones are just from him trying to get a job and getting home late. But
he's been saying that he had a job. He's out at 11 o'clock at night. And it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Just.
He's still got the felony pending. He's ready to resolve these. If the court will allow, I think it's a good resolution for him.
I'm not gonna do it.
Why? What would be the alternative, Judge?
I want him on probation, and I want to monitor him for the next 2 years so I can make sure that he's not messing up. So I can keep him and just. I want him to get his high school. Does he have a high school diploma?
I can't remember.
If you're going, do you mind bringing up Mr. Waters?
If we have to do that, can you not revoke his bond so that he and I can talk about it while not under the strain of my bond's going to be revoked, so I'm going to spend the night in jail if I don't get this plea done. Can we not revoke his bond? Other than the bond violations, he wasn't here on yesterday when he was supposed to be because he had felony court today, he thought he was supposed to come here after felony court, or whenever that was, I'm sorry. But he didn't just blow off the court yesterday.
I'm very upset with you. Very, very upset. I thought we had things going.
Sorry, Judge.
I thought we had things going right. You've been doing well. And now you've got this bond violation where you're doing whatever the hell you want to do again. Don't work like that. And I don't know what I need to do to get your attention that at this stage in your life, it's not about what you want to do, it's about complying with bond conditions. We have literally bent over backwards to try to help you with things, and you continue to shoot yourself in the foot. Your lawyer, Miss Hawkins, wants to plead you guilty now because you have a warrant. I'm done with this revolving door of you picking up a case and getting out. Picking up a case, getting out. You now, Mr. Waters, have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
Cap, man.
That's
That's cap. I'm the first in my life, man. That's cap, man. I've been by my baby mama's side, man. Been taking care of everything I got to take care of, man. That's cap, man.
Mr. Waters, look at me.
That's cap, man.
Mr. Waters, you don't get rewarded for doing things that you should do anyways.
Oh, I got
It's
to.
meaning it's what you're doing is great and it keeps you out of jail. But do you want me to pat you on the back for doing what you should be doing anyways?
I ain't asking. Man, I ain't asking. I'm just asking you, like, just give me a little more time. I've been doing these jobs. I've been going through the whole package. I've been going to these hospitals with my girl, going to go check up on our little one that's coming, and I want to be there.
If you are old enough to have a baby, then these are the things that you should do anyways. You don't get rewarded for being a good father. The reward is that you have a kid that grows up like a little flower that blossoms, right? Because there are so many people that have babies that treat their kids like shisa, and they end up like rotten-ass kids that, like a flower, are just crooked and just... When you're a father, the duty of a father is to stand by the side of their kid, stand by the side of the wife, to make their lives as comfortable, as great, educational, and supportive as possible. That is the duty of a father, right? If you can't, then don't have kids. Then be a man to use a prophylactic or think, maybe I'm not in the best position right now to have a baby. You think before you act. This is the sign of being an adult, of being mature, and growing up, Mr. Waters. But me, with you now, I'm not going to just continue with this revolving door. You've been doing well because you've not picked up any cases, which is great, right?
And I have not been doing nothing. I have not been kicking hard. I have been...
Tell me about the curfew then. What's up with that?
Okay, with the curfew, I can understand. Me and my girl, we got into it, and I ended up walking out, trying to go get some fresh air. Was not thinking. I can admit to that, and I'm sorry. We yelled, the hormone going crazy with us, and we trying to, fight and get right with this, but...
You need to know about this.
I'm trying to, I can't talk. Y'all be telling me I can't talk, and I be having...
I have to give you a lawyer to talk to.
And I told her everything. So she can come and tell you and let you know. Keep stuff updated. Sir, I've been out the way. I ain't been on no lollygagging stuff. I'm really maturing. I'm ready to be a dad. I'm ready for this. Well, I'm doing a little something on the side. I ain't doing no drugs, no none of that. I'm, volunteering with my girl dad now.
Why can you not get a 9-to-5 job?
With my 9 to 5, I gotta have my ID and stuff, and I'm working with Search, my housing people. They got me my appointment. They finna give me my social security card and my ID card, and that's all I need, so I can go ahead and get on.
Second, were we working on this?
Yeah, so first he was with Search to just get housing. At first they didn't have housing, so he has an apartment and everything now. I'm not sure like the step by step how everything progresses, but he does still work with them. I've actually spoken with his officer, their case manager. He also had a social worker assigned with MAC. They were informed that he's working with Search, so they just kind of check in here and there, but they won't also work with him because he's also working with Search, but they'll just make sure things are okay. So he is still working with Search and has a case manager with them. And has housing now. I wasn't aware of the ID issues or anything.
I've been telling them, send the applications.
What we're going to do now is we're going to work on this in extremely slow baby steps. I want you now to go get your ID. I want you to get your ID. And I'm going to give you a week for you to go get it. Do you understand?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
If you are not back here in a week with your ID, it's not going to go well. After we get your ID, then you and I are going to work together to get you a job. A 9 to 5 job where you're working every single day. Because if you are about to have a baby, that baby needs food, that baby needs clothes, and the only way you get that is by working. And I'm not talking about these side jobs here, no. An actual J-O-B. Do you understand? I'm going to reinstate your bond right now with the expectation that you're going to get your ID. If you don't, it's really not going to go well.
Thank you, Judge.
Well, this is more of a client service matter than anything else. I would like to reapproach Your Honor on Mr. James. Mr. James has some questions about the probable cause, and if it's possible, I'd like to have probable cause read while I'm here with him so that I can communicate to him adequately everything that's going on.
Okay.
Thank you.
Come on, Mr. James. He's saying there's no problem. Come on.
Your Honor. I think at this point I'd like to just say that he's not fully understanding or appreciating the magnitude of what's going on, so that we can communicate effectively. I'd just like us to have transparency.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You were charged with assault causing bodily injury. You are facing a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. She's going to read what happened in this case. Please.
On March 13th, 2025, at approximately 3:11, officers were dispatched to a gas station in Houston, Harris County, Texas, in reference to an assault. Upon arrival, officers met with the complainant, who stated the defendant assaulted him with his arms. The complainant stated that he was at the gas station when an unrelated suspect started beating on him. As he was getting beat up, the defendant jumped onto the complainant and started beating on him as well. The defendant struck the complainant with a closed fist, then strangled the complainant from behind with
Okay,
his
hold on. Did you hear what that said? Did you hear that?
Yeah, I know that's true.
Okay.
What they're talking about, that's what they're saying happened.
That's why we have evidence. Evidence points to whose side is correct. So I know that you're saying it didn't happen.
Said that.
But now,
Somebody said that. That's the probable cause.
we have seen.
I got that. That's right. We're going to work on it. Just listen.
with his arms in a chokehold for 5 minutes. The complainant passed out. The complainant stated he felt pain. The complainant pointed out the defendant, who was across the street. When officers arrived, the officers attempted to detain the defendant, and the defendant resisted. The complainant positively identified the defendant. The complainant and defendant are acquaintances through the complainant's girlfriend. The complainant had a bruise on his neck and a bump knot on his cheek.
Your Honor, of course, he doesn't have a bump on his cheek or his neck, and they got the wrong thing. They got the wrong guy. We're going to prove that. So, but right now, Your Honor, do you find probable cause? Judge found probable cause based on that. Now, we're going to fight this, okay?
Okay.
Okay, now listen, now we got one more thing to take care of. Your Honor, I understand that as part of his bond conditions, the court is requesting he has an ankle monitor. Your Honor, we understand that the purpose of bond and the conditions are to ensure his return to court. I have talked to him and we'd like to make his next appearance required, Your Honor.
Okay.
We would ask that he not have to have that ankle monitor, Your Honor.
And the state would be opposed, just due to the complainant's safety and the threats to their life that happened, that was relayed to us during this incident. I don't know how him and the other suspect are involved. The state would be opposed to not having him.
And if I may, Your Honor, my client was not the initial aggressor. The facts are uncontroverted that my client, it was introduced to a scene of combat. Whether or not he was trying to break it up and help and it was a misinterpretation, or he actually hit this person who was ultimately unconscious and their recollection could be questioned. Those are all factual questions, Your Honor. He's contesting that he was a good Samaritan, Your Honor, and we'd like to prove that. But there were other facts that took place that were not my client. We would ask that even though they have concerns, he is not posing a risk that he would not return to court, Your Honor, and that would be the reason for the ankle monitor.
My fear, and after looking at his criminal history, he has extensive criminal history dating back to 1987.
Yes, Your Honor.
In fact, he just did 300 days on a burglar of a building not just a couple months ago where 2 aggravated assaults with a deadly weapon were dismissed.
Yes, sir.
So my fear is I don't want him using alcohol, illegal drugs, and I don't want him anywhere near the complaining witnesses, and I want to ensure that this doesn't happen. So that's why I put this on. If after some time passes where there are no issues, I'm always happy to revisit. But for the time being, I want to ensure that our community is protected and that the complaining witness is also protected. I mean, we have here an allegation where he was choked for 5 alleged minutes until he passed out.
No, that never happened.
Evidence will point to whose side is correct. I'm assuming, and I would hope, that if this is the fact, that officers would take pictures, there should be ligature marks, there should be all kinds of, so we'll see. I don't know. But the only thing,
Right, they don't have it right now. Yep. Yes, sir.
you need to listen, Mr. James, you also need to understand that you need to be patient.
That's true.
Rome wasn't built in a day. It takes time to get evidence. They don't get it immediately. It may take 6 months to get a 911 call. I don't know. But it takes time. So please be patient and don't take it out on your lawyer. He's trying to do the best he can. All I'm asking you to do is don't use alcohol, illegal drugs, and stay away from this person. Don't pick up any new cases.
Listen,
Can you stay away from the person?
I don't realize.
And I don't want you to go near I don't want you to go where the gas station was. I don't want you to go to their house. I don't, nothing of this nature.
Can you do that?
Yes.
Tell the judge you can do that.
I can do that.
There you go. That's it. You can do that.
That's all I'm asking. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. James, good luck, man.
I'm yelling, Cuba, my man.
All right.
I'm breaking nibble.
Ron, it's okay. I'd like to come back maybe off docket, maybe 2 or 3 weeks, even though we have a setting out tonight on this matter. Just
I would like you guys to also do a rip, make sure that there are no issues, so just be aware. So, Alan,
Yes, sir.
just give them a heads up when you want so that they can have a rip done, make sure everything's.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Council, I just report, I'm gonna send him to 49, to
Okay.
get instruction of the conditions of the device.
Okay, thank you.
I'm gonna leave it during
Okay.
Friday.
You are Eric Lemus.
Lemus.
You're right.
Thank you. Eric Lemus.
So Lemus, you're charged with reckless driving.
Hello.
You are facing up to 30 days in jail
A 30 días.
and or a $500 fine. We are going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one will be appointed to you, sir.
On March 15th,
El 15 de marzo
2025,
del 2025,
officers were working a street racing takeover operation
una operación
at
en la calle
909
de la
Shepherd
909
Drive,
Shepherd
Harris
Drive en
County,
Condado
Texas.
Harris, Texas.
The officer
Los
observed a
oficiales
vehicle
observaron
fail
un
to signal a lane
vehículo
change and run a red light while oncoming traffic was present.
y venía tráfico. I'm sorry. Can you repeat that?
Yes. The officer
Los
observed the
oficiales
vehicle
observaron un
fail to
vehículo
signal
que
a
no
lane
puso su
change
señal para cambiar
and run a red
y se
light
pasó una luz roja
with oncoming
con
traffic.
tráfico que venía en su contra.
The vehicle then
El vehículo
continued
entonces
to leave
continuó
between lanes
a pasar entre los carriles
at speeds
Hacia un
exceeding
carril a otro.
60 miles per
a
hour
las velocidades de
in a 35 miles per hour zone.
en una zona de 35 millas por hora.
The passenger was
El pasajero
seen
se
hanging
vio
out of the window
por la ventana, la ventanilla,
while the vehicle was in
mientras el
motion.
vehículo estaba en marcha.
A traffic stop was
Se hizo
initiated.
un alto.
The defendant denied
El
his actions and the
el
officer
acusado negó sus acciones al
the officer
el
informed him
oficial
that
le
they would be on
informó
camera.
que estaban en cámara.
Officer informed what?
The defendant that they would be on camera
Que el
would ask
acusado
him.
estaba
Okay. So he just pulls him out. Does he ask for license, insurance, anything like that? Just pulls him out and arrests him?
At that point, they did,
en ese
I believe they
momento
arrested him for
lo
reckless
arrestaron
driving.
por manejo imprudente.
Got you. Mr. Lemus, I'm going to find that there's sufficient probable cause to go forward with your case. Can you run him to see if he has a Texas driver's license, please?
It's not how I
No te tiene licencia de manejar, no tiene
Mr.
licencia
Lemus,
de primas.
if you do not have a Texas driver license and liability insurance in your name, then you are
Seguro,
not allowed to drive.
permite manejar.
That is a condition of your bond. If I find that you violate these conditions, I will put you in jail. I don't know what your immigration status is, but if you're not in this country with permission and you go to jail, and immigration finds you because they sweep it on a daily basis, they will put an immigration detainer on you, and you will be stuck in custody until this case is over with,
Bajo custodia.
and then you get shipped off to immigration. Do you understand?
Lo entiende.
Yes or no?
Sí o no? Yes.
How old are you, sir?
¿Qué edad tiene usted, señor?
17.
17.
Okay. I will provide you a lawyer today. So what we'll do is I'll have you fill out an application for me for a court-appointed lawyer.
Para
I'm
una
going to have you sign your reset with Victoria. I will have you take a seat in the jury box while we find you a lawyer. Do not leave until you sign our bond conditions. Otherwise, I will issue a warrant for your arrest.
arresto.
Okay? Please, Deputy Rand, if you don't mind.
Alright,
So
the
can you file no driving?
For
Please.
David Levin,
Abigail,
Kane,
you file no driving
Yes, sir.
and then without a license in it.
Innocent,
Hi, Herman.
Good morning, Judge. How are you?
Amen.
Mr. Payne, if you want to read along with the prosecutor does, you can read right there. Vicente Payne, Your Honor. Page 11, per Victoria.
Good morning, Mr. Payne.
Your Honor.
Sir, you're charged with driving while intoxicated. It's elevated to a Class A misdemeanor because of the high blow. You are facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one will be appointed to you, sir.
on March 15th at approximately 11:22 p.m., the officers were dispatched to a 911 call regarding a three-way motor vehicle crash at the intersection of Spencer Highway and 11th Street in Harris County, Texas. The defendant's motor vehicle was identified by his Texas license plate. The officer made contact with the defendant and observed slurred speech, red glassy eyes, a strong odor of alcoholic beverage, and poor balance. During the investigation, it was apparent that the defendant's motor vehicle failed to yield the right of way for left turn, causing the defendant's vehicle to strike Unit 2, causing Unit 2 to strike Unit 3. All parties involved advised at the time of the collision the defendant was operating his motor vehicle. The defendant advised that he consumed 3 tall boy Michelob Ultras at a residence prior to operating the motor vehicle. One open container was found cold to the touch and was located on the right outside of the defendant's motor vehicle's driver's side door, and that the defendant was advised that was his 4th beer. SOSTs were conducted. It was a 6 out of 6 on the HGN, a 7 out of 8 on the walk-in turn, and a 3 out of 4 on the one-leg stand. The defendant was placed into custody and was transported to the police station. The DSC was read and sentenced to breath, which the results were a .234 and a .230.
Are you telling me that he had alcohol in the car and he's drinking while he's driving as well?
I cannot tell you whether he was drinking while he was driving, but alcohol was found in the vehicle.
Where was it?
It was found in the vehicle, on the driver's side door.
Mr. Payne, I'm going to find that there's sufficient probable cause to go forward with the case. I'm ordering you now not to drive any vehicle whatsoever for any reason. You will be signing an affidavit with me today promising you're not going to drive. I don't care what's going on in your life. If I find that you drive, I can have a contempt hearing. You could be facing an additional 6 months in jail and a $500 fine every time you drive. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Judge, may I have a request? I understand why the court is concerned about this case. Can we just limit it so he can just drive for the certain hours of the day so he can support himself to do the necessary things in his home with the interlock device and or scram device as well? I mean, it's hard, as you know, in Houston, Texas, it's hard for someone to be able to live without any public transportation or anything to get around. If we can just limit his driving just to the specific hours that the court allows.
How old are you, sir?
21.
He's 21. He has beer in the car and he's a .26?
Yeah, but I mean, I'm not to quibble, but yes.
No, you are not
Because the
to
bond conditions
drive.
seem a bit egregious considering it's first off.
I understand, Herman, and I would recognize, or I would understand, that it's elementary that you're not to have alcohol in the car while you're driving. And there's a 3-car collision, he's a .23 with alcohol in the car. No, I don't want you driving. And I'm telling you now, if I find that you do, there's going to be HE double hockey sticks to pay. Do you understand? You're also not to consume alcohol, illegal drugs, unprescribed controlled medication. I'm going to randomly test you. If I find that you're consuming alcohol or illegal drugs, likewise, you will be spending quite some time with me.
Will you reconsider the order or the condition,
I
Judge?
will always do it. Yes. I want some time to pass, and I want to see some proactivity, Herman, and I'm always all ears. But for the moment, I don't want him anywhere near a car.
Is his appearance waived as long as he's maintaining his conditions, Judge?
Because you have a lawyer, I will waive your appearance. You don't have to waste your time coming to court. But Mr. Payne, I want you to understand that I'm going to do everything in my power to protect my city at all costs. If that means putting you in custody, I don't care. If you have Jesus here arguing on your behalf, I will protect my city at all costs. Do you understand? All right, I'll have you come up here, swear to us that you're not going to drive. I'm going to get you to Victoria Center Reset. You'll get with the police if you're bond conditions, then you're free to go. Thanks, sir.
All right, Judge, next is page 1. Boudion. Douglas.
Is it Bodion? Good morning, Mr. Bodion. So you're charged with failure to stop and give information after striking a highway fixture. You're facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine. You're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one will be appointed to you.
On March 14th, 2025, at approximately 11 a.m., officers were dispatched to the 10,400 block of North Street Hollow Circle in LaPorte, Texas, in Harris County, in reference to a minor accident where a vehicle struck a light pole. The officer was advised by dispatch that a witness observed the suspect leaving the scene and were provided a description of the vehicle. The officer began to check the area and observed that a vehicle that matched the description with wiring hanging out of the front of the vehicle and front end damage. A traffic stop was initiated. The officer made contact with the defendant, the driver, and observed several car parts including a front bumper in plain view. The defendant stated that he struck the light pole and left the scene because nobody else was involved. Centerpoint, the light pole company, stated that the cost to repair would be approximately $3,000.
Mr. Bodion, I'm going to find that there is sufficient probable cause to go forward with your case. Can you run his license, see if he has a valid license, please?
Yes, sir.
You are not allowed to drive unless you have a valid Texas driver license and liability insurance. Do you understand? Good. These are your bond conditions. If I find that you violate these conditions, if you pick up a new case, I will revoke your bond and put you in jail. Do you understand? Do you have the ability to hire a lawyer, sir?
Yes.
Okay, we'll give you time to hire a lawyer. So what I'm going to have you do is I'm going to have you go to Victoria, sign a reset. We'll have you take a seat in the jury box. We'll get your bond conditions. We'll have you sign it, and then you'll be on your way. All right? Do not pick up any new cases. All right? You mind filing those no driving without insurance as well? A Texas driver license and insurance.
All right, Judge, next is page 2. Bookman, come on up.
Good morning.
And you're charged with driving while intoxicated. You're facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine. We are going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one will be appointed to you.
On March 14th, 2025, at approximately 12:32 a.m., an officer observed the defendant outside of her vehicle twerking at a red light intersection.
Twerking?
Yes, sir. The defendant then returned to her car and drove southbound down Montrose Boulevard. The officer observed the vehicle failed to signal a lane change multiple times. A traffic stop was initiated. The officer observed the defendant to have the mild odor of alcohol upon her breath, slurred speech, and glassy eyes. The officer asked the defendant to exit the vehicle, and the defendant stated she had 2 glasses of gin with champagne at a bar. SFSTs were conducted. 6 out of 6 clues were observed on the HGN, 3 out of 8 clues observed on the walk and turn, 2 out of 4 on the one-leg stand. The DIC was run and the defendant consented to a breath test at 1:18 a.m. Then at 2:20 a.m. she stated she did not consent A blood search warrant was signed and executed at 3:06 a.m.
All right. Any prior DWIs?
No prior charge.
License?
Eligible.
Ms. Bookman, I'm going to find that there's sufficient probable cause to go forward with the case. I'm ordering you as a condition of your bond not to consume alcohol, illegal drugs, or unprescribed controlled medication. I'm going to randomly test you. If I find that you're consuming alcohol or any kind of illegal drugs, you'll go to jail. No more PR bonds. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Do you have the ability to hire a lawyer, ma'am?
Yes.
Okay, we will give you time. So what I will have you do is I'll have you go to Victoria, sign a reset. You'll get with Fleischer, your bond conditions, and after that, you'll be free to go.
Thank
When you
you.
come back to that lawyer. Please. Good morning, Mr. Garcia. Your lawyer came by here yesterday. We did probable cause. I'm gonna now find probable cause. I mean, let's do it just for,
Okay.
so he can hear it, but you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you, so.
On March 15th, 2025, an officer was working at crash scene in Pasadena, Harris County, Texas. At approximately 1:15 a.m., the officer heard tires squeal and a vehicle collision a short distance away. The officer observed a vehicle had collided with a fully marked police vehicle with emergency lights activated. The officer observed the defendant, the driver, and sole occupant to appear confused and have glassy eyes. The defendant exited the vehicle and the officer observed red glassy eyes, slurred speech, uncoordinated and lethargic movement, and the odor of alcohol emanating from his person. The defendant admitted to drinking 2 beers. SFSTs were conducted. 6 out of 6 clues were observed on the HGN, 3 out of 8 clues on the walk and turn, 2 out of 4 on the one-leg stand. The DIC was read and the defendant consented to provide a breath specimen. The results were .134 and .123.
No prior DWS, right?
No prior DWS.
Okay, Mr. Garcia, I'm going to find that there's sufficient probable cause to go forward with your case. I am ordering you not to consume alcohol. Do you speak English, right? Okay, I'm ordering you not to consume alcohol, illegal drugs, unprescribed controlled medication. I'm going to randomly test you. If I find that you're consuming, I will revoke your bond and put you in jail. No more PR bonds. Do you understand? Do not pick up any new cases. You've got a great lawyer. Listen to him and he'll take care of you. I will waive your appearance so you don't have to waste your time coming to court, but you must stay in touch with Mr. LeGrand and he'll tell you when you have to come. All right, sir? I'll have you go to Victoria Center reset. You'll get with Fleischer for your bond conditions and then you're free to go.
Very good. Page 5. Yeah. Come on up.
Is it Gaston or Gaston? Mr. Gaston, you're charged with 2 cases. You're charged with evading arrest and detention and unlawful carrying of a weapon. You are facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine on both of those cases. We are going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one will be appointed to you.
On March 14th, 2025, an officer observed a vehicle speeding on Gulf Freeway feeder by radar device going 72 miles per hour in a 40 mile per hour zone. The officer then observed the vehicle turn left at a red light. A traffic stop was initiated. The officer instructed the driver to step out of the vehicle, and the officer began to detain the driver. As the officer was detaining the driver, the front passenger, the defendant, exited the vehicle. The officer instructed the defendant to return to the vehicle, and the defendant ignored the officer's instructions and started to walk away. The officer ordered the defendant to stop, and the defendant started running northbound. The officer observed the defendant place his left hand near the front of his waistband and throw a small black and blue object near a fence. The officer informed other officers of the defendant's location. Officers observed the defendant running eastbound on the 3,300th block of Scott Street and attempted to apprehend the defendant. The defendant was apprehended at the 3,100th block of Milby Street, approximately 0.2 miles away from the scene. The officers searched the area and located a firearm. The officer remained in visual contact with the location and no individuals approached that area.
What are they doing wrong? The officer just stops them and just arrests them? What for?
I'm not sure why the officer immediately detained him.
Really? Is that what we do now? We just stop and arrest? No. I'm gonna find no probable cause in your case. Just be careful, man. You got a gun, God forbid you use it, something happens, you dig yourself in a hole? Come on, man. We got one life. Be smart. Go to school, get some knowledge, and make a ton of money, you know? Take a seat, please. Thanks, bud. Just driving while black.
Your Honor, I would just come up with that either. It was a speeding stop where the passenger was getting out of the car. I would say the officer would have the right to at least make the passenger in the car while he was getting a stop.
Yes.
I don't even think that's an arrestable offense, you know? It's not an arrestable offense. They just literally pull him out, he's speeding, and they arrest him. And then The co-defendant's doing nothing wrong. He just gets out of the car. He can just walk away. Yeah, I don't see anything wrong. Okay, I'm sorry. Who's this?
Page 6, Heyman.
Good morning, Miss Amy. You're charged with violation of a sexually oriented enterprise. You're facing up to a year in jail and/or a $4,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present if you cannot afford one. One will be appointed to you.
On March 15th, 2025, the defendant was performing at the library a sexually oriented enterprise without a license to entertain displayed on her person in violation of Ordinance Section 28-256A. And that ordinance states that each manager or entertainer shall conspicuously display his or her personal card upon their person at all times while acting as an entertainer or manager
That's
of the
where I think-
enterprise.
Am I correct that you have to have a license, correct?
I believe that is the code, yes, Your Honor. Yes, you have to have a license. I will double check that though.
Yeah, let's do this. I'm gonna appoint you a lawyer right now. We'll dig deeper into this because I want to know if there's sufficient probable cause to go forward. We'll pull the statute. The problem is I got a whole crew of people that we need to get through. It's gonna take some time, so just be patient and we'll get to you.
Your Honor, I do set up, but I didn't want to.
But let me get a defense lawyer just in case. Do you mind appointing a lawyer? Or don't be so kind as just take a seat, but do not leave me, please. The library. That's what it's called.
Yeah.
Really?
Your Honor, I'm evaluating.
Okay. The library. I want to go to the library. Oh. All right, Miss Jenkins, you were charged with assault of a family member. You're facing up to a year in jail and/or a $4,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present if you cannot afford one. One will be appointed to you.
On March 15th, 2025, in Harris County, Texas, an officer was dispatched to a family dispute. The officer met with the defendant who stated that the complainant is her common-law husband. The defendant stated that the defendant attacked her and physically pulled her out of a vehicle and slapped her twice. The officer then met with the complainant who stated that the defendant attacked him and by striking him multiple times in his face, bit him on his nipple and felt a sharp pain on the back of his neck. The officer observed the defendant to have a bite mark on his nipple and a scratch mark on the back of his neck. Officers then spoke with a witness who stated they observed the defendant attack the complainant and continue even after they intervened. Officers observed no injuries on the defendant.
Any priors against this?
No.
And do we know what he wants? Ms. Jenkins, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with your case. There is a protective order that has been issued in this case. I would get to know it. If you do something to violate this protective order, the state can and will probably file a violation of protective order against you. It's one of the worst cases you can pick up. I don't know if this person wants to have contact with you, so until I know, I'm going to order you not to have any contact with this person and not to be in possession of weapons.
So he would still like contact, from what I can read here.
Is that from
He
a
said
rip?
he wants, it's from a rip.
When was it performed?
The rip was performed today at 9:14 a.m.
Okay, what?
He basically said that he wants to drop the charges.
I'm ordering you not to have any threatening or harassing contact against this person. You need to understand that what is threatening or harassing, it doesn't matter what you think. It's what he perceives. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Do you have the ability to hire a lawyer? Okay, I'll have you fill out an application. Deputy Miranda's going to give you an application. I'll take a look at it to see whether you qualify. I'll have you sign a reset with Victoria. We'll have you take a seat in the jury box while we get your bond conditions. Do not leave until you sign. Okay?
Okay.
Please.
That's the only thing.
Yeah. And then, do you mind filing the threatening, harassing?
Page 9, Otto.
Good morning, Mr. Otto. Sir, you're charged with reckless driving. You're facing up to 30 days in jail and or a $500 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you.
On March 13th, 2025, at approximately 10:15 p.m., an officer initiated a traffic stop at the 5804th block of Southwest Freeway on a black Alfa Romero. The officer observed a motor vehicle weaving in and out of traffic at high speeds, endangering other motorists on the road, almost striking multiple motor vehicles. The officer had to increase the speeds up to 100 miles per hour to catch up to the motor vehicle and traveled about 6.1 miles. The defendant admitted to driving over 100 miles per hour in an attempt to catch up with another motor vehicle. An NCIC TCIC check revealed the motor vehicle had no valid insurance. The defendant was identified by his Illinois driver's license.
So can you run him to see if he does have a license?
His Illinois driver's license is valid.
Mr. Otto, I am forwarding you as a condition of your bond not to drive maniacally again. If I find that you drive like this and put other lives in danger, I will revoke your bond and put you in jail. Do you understand?
Sir.
No reckless driving, racing, street takeovers, anything of this manner. If I find, first thing, I'm going to put you in jail. The next thing, I'm going to take your ability to drive away. Living in a city this big without the ability to drive blows. Do you understand?
Sir.
Do you mind filing this condition, please?
Yes, sir.
You're also not allowed to drive unless you have valid liability insurance in your name. Car insurance. If you don't have car insurance.
Those are right.
Okay. I don't care if you're driving the Dodge Bypass. If you don't have car insurance, you're not to drive. Do you understand?
Sir.
Do you have the ability to hire a lawyer, sir?
Yes.
Did you want to apply for a court-appointed lawyer? Okay. We will give you time to hire a lawyer. I'm going to have you go to Victoria, sign a reset. After that, I'll have you take a seat in the jury box. I'll get your bond conditions. Do not leave until you sign our bond conditions, and then we'll let you go hire a lawyer. Please.
Judge, can you sign bond conditions for Douglas Bogium?
What's your license?
Patterson.
Morning, Mr. Patterson. Sir, you're charged with assault of a family member. You're facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We are going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to, have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one will be appointed to you, sir.
On March 14th, 2025, in Harris County, Texas, an officer met with the complainant who stated that the defendant is his stepfather. The complainant stated the defendant was not happy with the yard work the complainant had done and punched him in the face several times. The officer observed the defendant to have a bloody nose, swollen lip, and bruising. The defendant admitted to punching the complainant in the face due to the complainant throwing a bottle of water at him. So the defendant stated that he punched the complainant in the face because the complainant threw a bottle of water at him. The complainant said he punched him in the face because he was unhappy with the yard work he did.
Do we know whether they want to have continued contact or no?
We have not been able to get into contact with the complainant yet.
So, Mr. Patterson, there is sufficient probable cause to go forward with your case. I'm ordering you not to have any contact with this person, not to be in possession of weapons. These are your bond conditions. If you violate these conditions, first of all, you have a protective order. If you violate the protective order, they can file additional cases against you. A violation of protective order, it's one of the worst cases you can pick up. And in our assault, if you violate those conditions, I will revoke this bond. You understand?
Yes, sir.
So no contact, no weapons. Do you have the ability to hire a lawyer?
No, sir.
I'll have you fill out an application. I'll look to see whether you qualify. I need to know everything about you, how much money you have in the bank, what kind of, everything about you, and then I'll take a look to see if you qualify. Deputy Miranda, do you mind giving me an application, please? I'll have you sign a reset of Victoria while you take a seat. Do not leave until you sign our bond conditions. That's okay? All right.
Great, Judge, next,
You might find
page
no contact.
13.
Hey, Vic, on Heyman, cancel the lawyer. They're going to nominate him. Deputy John, on Miss Heyman, can you tell her that her case has been dismissed and she's free to go? Miss Heyman, if she wants to wait for dismissal, she can have to wait with it, but it's being dismissed.
This is page 13.
Okay?
Donna?
Good morning, Mrs. Saldana. Sir, you're charged with driving while intoxicated. You're facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one will be appointed to you.
On March 15th, 2025, at 4:05 a.m., an officer observed the defendant operating a vehicle with an obstructed windshield. The defendant's vehicle was observed to have front end damage that included a hood that was damaged and open with the bumper in the engine compartment. A traffic stop was initiated. The defendant had slurred speech, glassy red eyes, and a strong odor of alcohol on his breath. SFSTs were conducted. 6 out of 6 clues observed on the HGN, 2 out of 4 clues observed on the one-leg stand, 4 out of 8 clues observed on the walk and turn. The defendant consented to a breath test. The results were .144 and .129.
Douglas William?
What's the stop for? Because he's got a beat up car, right?
Yes, so it states, that he had an obstructed windshield due to the damage that to his vehicle.
It's a illusory statement, though. How?
Judge, because of the front end damage, the driver of the vehicle would not be able to see out of the front windshield, and it was considered a safety hazard.
How? Like,
What the damage was, or
what's the, how is the obstruction?
the states that the hood was damaged, the front hood was damaged, open.
To where it's facing, to where it blocks his, I guess, field of vision?
It states that the windshield was obstructed, so.
I guess I'll find probable cause for now, and then we'll talk to the defense lawyer, and if they can show me something differently, I guess I'll revisit it. Mr. Saldana, I'm gonna find probable cause for now. I am ordering you as a condition of your bond not to consume alcohol, illegal drugs, or unprescribed controlled medication. I'm gonna test you. If I find that you're consuming alcohol or drugs, it's not gonna go well for you. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any prior DWIs, and does he have a license?
He does have an eligible driver's license, Your Honor, no prior DWIs.
Okay. You are also not allowed to drive unless you have car insurance in your name. You must maintain liability insurance. That is also a bond condition. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, I'll have you sign a reset with Victoria. We'll have you get your bond conditions with Felicia, and then after that, you'll be free to go. All right?
Yeah.
Please. Oh, do you have the ability to hire a lawyer?
Yes, Your Honor. I have a lawyer with the Texas Defense Criminal Group, I believe. That's their name.
You have a lawyer? Okay, so let's do this. Let's wait for your lawyer. Is your lawyer going to come here? Do you know?
They haven't. I texted them this morning, and they haven't responded.
Okay, so let's do this. I'll have you sign and get all the paperwork ready. I'll have you wait a little bit to see if they show up, and then because we need to get a good date. So I'll have you sit, just wait a bit to see if they come. If they don't, then we'll reach out to them. Okay?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Please. For sure.
All right, Judge, page 13, Selena.